Hello, Yakri here with another Warframe video. This time I want to bring you an unusual build involving Trinity and the Castanas, or in this case, Sancti Castanas. Now, I'm going to first show you what this build can do, and then I'll show you what my build is for the weapons and for Trinity and explain how it works and all that. So, first off, let's take a look at the result. Now, this isn't a build for use versus very high-level enemies. However, it does work up to a pretty reasonable level, much actually higher than I've been using it against in practice. So I've got level 80 ARD gunners, heavy gunners here. So these guys are pretty hard to kill, although, you know, not quite the most difficult content you'll normally encounter in Warframe. So what you do with this build is you activate Trinity's Link ability, and you throw some Castanas on the wall or the floor, right? Hop into the air and explode them. And, oh, that was actually pretty underwhelming. I think I was a little too far away there. Alright, and you explode them just like that. Let's try this group of guys over here. Alright, we're gonna be nice and close. I could have more range on this build, but it's gonna require some more forma from me. Or some other tweaking about with mods. So, check this out. Dang it, this is like much worse than it ever was in testing, but hey, whatever. I still, oh crap, my link wore off. I still killed all but 3 of them and they were pretty fucked up. Alright, that's cool. There's probably an element of RNG in how much damage you do, because you can't get a 100% crit chance with the Castanas. Now you might be thinking, alright Yakri, sure, you're killing level 80 enemies fairly effectively, but the Castanas are an AoE weapon. You could just throw them at the enemies instead of doing this weird shit where you hop into the air and then blow yourself up. You could, but watch how much damage they do if you don't use Trinity, right? Oh fuck, I just threw a bunch off into space and now they're not gonna... Alright, whatever, it's still pretty effective. Here, let's do it again. Ah, look at that. Are they dead yet? No, they're not dead yet. Still not dead yet. Alright, let's keep trying this. No? I'm out of ammo. Okay. Alright, and the game, DE please. The game unequips the weapon because you ran out of ammo and you can't activate the secondary, which explodes the Castanas. Anyway, so yeah, it does not work so well if you are not linked to them and you're not blowing yourself up. Now, let's look at why this is. So the thing is, if you'll notice, if I link these guys, it's going to be more effective because I'm not respawning the group. See, the ones who are actually linked have no armor left due to how I have the build set up and I'm using a blading link, Trinity's augment. So since they have no armor left, they should die pretty much instantly from this stuff. Well, they'll take a lot more damage. They don't die instantly necessarily, but you get the idea, right? Boom. Here's the thing. Trinity's link ability, if we take a look at it, Link says it affects 3 enemies, right? And it takes 100% of the damage dealt to you, and it deals it to those enemies instead of to you. And you take 25% of the damage still. Okay, so 3 enemies, but I'm clearing out a whole wave of these guys. Let's respawn them and count how many there are in a wave. And my best result is typically to have 1 remaining in testing. I think my worst result, when I've actually been close enough, is to have 3 remaining, and those all took damage. They just didn't actually quite all die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 enemies. That's a lot more than 3 enemies. Let's try this again. All right. All right. Look at that. That's a bad result again. But that still killed, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Wait, 8 with 3, yeah, 5, not 6, what am I saying? Anyway, so that's also too many, right? I mean, it's only supposed to affect 3. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on here with this ability. There are some caveats, like it does reflect an electric proc that should chain between the enemies, right? Well, that doesn't really matter, though, because you saw how much damage it does without that armor strip, right? Not a great amount. And so, clearly the armor strip is necessary. What I think is happening is that the damage instances are not collated, right? Which is to say that they happen in series. So I've got, you know, 6 of these Castanas down, right? I activate a blading link, which is linked to 3 enemies, and I blow myself up. Alright, didn't quite get it on the head there, but look at that. That's 5 enemies dead again, and 2 more took damage. So I think what's happening is it's chaining the damage down through 3 enemies, and then continuing to deal damage to more enemies after that by relinking them in an instant that you don't actually get to see happen, because it just happens over 1 game update frame, right? And it just deals some more damage to the remaining enemies, to the new enemies that are linked, right? Probably. I would actually, this is like arcane enough that I would probably actually need to see the game code for how they handle damage to know for sure. Now, without further ado, let's actually look at the build and see why this is working so well. Aside from whatever weirdness is going on that's allowing me to kill like 6 guys at a time, presumably even more at a time. In missions, I've seen my kill counter jump up by like 10 per cast, or per explosion, right? Which is much more than 5, obviously. So in some cases, it's much more effective than you'd think. So let's look at the Sancti Castanas first. And you'll see why I build them this way when we go to Trinity. But, so we want to build them for pure electric damage, status, and crit. The reason we build them for crit is not actually because we care about them critting enemies. It's because we don't have any other mods, right, to place here that increase the raw damage of the Castanas, right? So, I could put hydraulic crosshairs, but I'm not headshotting people, so it doesn't matter. Gunslinger, but we don't care about fire rate for this kind of build, obviously. It's more than fast enough already. Sharpened bullets, I'm not actually sure would work, but that would constitute 1, but prime target cracker is better anyway. Regular target cracker is almost as good, so even if you don't want to use prime mods, you're perfectly okay using pistol gambit and target cracker in those slots. The only thing that's kind of odd here is we're stuck with stunning speed because you run out of mods that actually just deal more raw electric damage. So I use stunning speed because reload speed is kind of useful. 10% status is a little bit useful. All right, so that's the idea. Tons of electric damage. Now, why electric damage? Why not, combine it and do radiation or corrosive, right? Corrosive's great versus grineer. I don't think are there any radiation guy has any radiation with ally or armor in the grineer faction. I think there's a couple, but anyway. The reason is we can use lightning rod, right? So the Castanas deal self-damage. Actually, let me give you a little demonstration here. For example, even if I put on blessing, give myself 75% damage reduction and blow myself up, I'm almost dead already. Boom. If I dropped down 2 shots of it, I would have killed myself even through blessing instantly right there, right? Okay, so we need some damage reduction. We're going to use lightning rod and aviator. Now, there's an interesting thing about lightning rod and aviator, which is that this 60% electricity resists 60% of the damage as well as the status proc. Or I think it's a chance to resist the status proc, but anyway, in any case, that doesn't really matter because your link protects you from status procs. Aviator reduces damage done by 40%, or damage taken by 40% while airborne, right? So that's a total of 100%, and that is how it works. You get 100% damage reduction while airborne versus electricity. So as long as we stick to pure electric damage, we are 100% safe from our Castanas. Now, admittedly, even if you don't want to do this combination, you can use Link plus Blessing in order to keep yourself safe enough to survive a blast from the Castanas, typically. I've accidentally killed myself doing that a couple times, but I was doing that before I finished putting my Q forma into her, and I had a little bit of an odd build while leveling up, and I wanted to try this out anyway. So, and that worked. Now, there's another thing that's really important to this build. Aviator Lightning Rod obviously keeps you from dying, but you also need to strip enemy armor by 100%, and you really have no use for power strength past that. And that's why I have 223% power strength. This is the exact amount of power strength you need to fully strip enemies of armor using a blading link, right? And that reduces armor by 45%, which is also the reason I don't have overextended in this build. As much as I would love to have that increased range on overextended, or from cunning drift for that matter, I need this exact amount of power strength at minimum in order for the build to work. Now, if you have a higher ranked blind rage or transient fortitude mod to make up for the 15% power strength on power drift, you can easily put cunning drift in instead. It's possible you could also do some other variation on the build with max blind range, max transient fortitude, and I think all those plus intensify, would be enough to make up for overextended. And if you did that, it's minus 60 ability strength, yeah, you can totally make up for overextended there. And so if you make up for overextended, you can swap that, you can try and squeeze that into the build, possibly instead of stretch, because it is a pretty tight build, or possibly instead of primed flow, although your energy problems would be horrifying. Also, possibly you could do something perhaps without quite a max blind rage, and you could squeeze in growing power, and you could like throw a Castana, hit one guy, and then cast Link after that, right? whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you hit 223% power strength, and so the build will actually work, right? And you want as much duration as possible, just so you don't have to recast links so often, and you know, and as much range as possible, so you hit more enemies, right? I've got Arcane Awakening equipped, which it does actually help, right? Chance on reload for more damage for pistols, with a 40% chance for 100% reload, which I, of course, don't have access to. You'll have this up pretty much 100% of the time, and of course, since you take no damage at all, it would be just a huge bonus and let you kill higher level enemies. So if you have access to that, great. If you don't, this will still work fine without it. I don't think it procced on any of the groups of enemies I was killing earlier, but if it is procced, it is more effective against them. Don't get those 3 guys remaining, it's always 1. And that pretty much covers the actual build. So that's how this works. And you just, you know, blast away with your Sancti Castanas on yourself, and you can kill a lot of enemies, right? So for example, though, like let's grab 20 of these guys. And you know, we probably don't need AI or invincibility for this. Okay, let's simulate. Grab some of this. For this, I will cast Blessing just to make myself a little protected here, and we'll run down here. All right, wait for some of these guys to charge after us. Okay, let's see how many we can kill. They're already almost all dead. Oh, fuck. Well, would you look at that. So that's what this is good for, right? Killing a lot of weak enemies that are grouped up. This is not like a boss killer insano damage ability. It's actually a really efficient room clearing ability, and I've been doing quite well for myself on Hydron using this to just farm focus, or in fact, or level up Trinity and the Castanas themselves. Probably gonna do this as an alternative to focus farming with stealth runs. Actually seems to be about on par with stealth runs for farming focus, which is pretty surprising for how good that is, relatively speaking, right? So yeah, big fan of it. It's odd. Odd certainly is a rule for it. It's a word for it. It's not necessarily the most fun thing ever, but it's very interesting. So I've had a lot of fun with this build. And yeah, let's cut to some footage of Hydron, shall we? All right, here we are, a little ways into Hydron. And the build is going pretty well so far. I got a little bit of competition from Rampage here, but I'm topping the damage charts just fine despite trying to make video, which is, you know, quite alright in my books. Overall, this is not the ultimate build, I think. I don't know if there's something better at the moment. Certainly Quake Banshee probably used to be before that was, you know, removed from the game. But this really takes the cake, in my opinion, for uniqueness as far as things I've seen anyone try in here. And although it's not really the most engaging gameplay, just like kind of throwing stuff at this wall, then like hopping, exploding, hop, explode, and that's pretty much the optimal way to play this here. With occasional efforts to move around the map. But in a normal mission, of course, you can do kind of a different play style where you leap forward and throw your Castanas ahead of you, then detonate them as you aim glide over them. I'll give you an example when we get some more enemies to spawn here in a second. All right, where's some guys? Come on. Oh, we only just cleared the wave. Occasionally a guy gets stuck somewhere. All right, so check this out. You throw these, glide over them, boom, guys die. Boom. You gotta be careful though, because you can really easily kill yourself, like really easily. Also, if you're getting attacked at all, actually, you may want to use Blessing. It's quite handy. However, the most efficient in terms of like maximizing your DPS is to just hop, explode, hop, explode, hop, explode over and over again. As you can see, like in between hops, you will reload. The reload on this weapon is 0.5 seconds with the mods I have on it. So that does make it quite easy to keep yourself going at a steady pace, just blasting enemies as soon as they come into range. Another thing to note is that Carrier Prime, or I mean regular Carrier works fine too, is very effective with these weapons because or maybe not effective is really the correct word, very convenient with this build and these weapons, because these Sancti Castanas only have 18 total ammo without carrier. With carrier, they have 24 total ammo, which is much more convenient in terms of like the overall amount of time before you have to get more ammo. However, once you do have to get more ammo, it gets even better because, of course, carrier gives you ammo mutation for all weapons, meaning it's a breeze to refill your ammo, on top of course, the fact that having vacuum from some Sentinel will allow you to suck in the ammo very conveniently. I highly recommend it and find this build to be a little bit annoying to play if I don't have carrier handy because of that passive. Alright, so as you can see, quite effective again, and that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you like the build and have fun trying it out. If you do try it out, I certainly have. And thank you. I can never get the endings on these to be A, correct, and B, not horribly cringy, but I'm gonna keep trying. One day I'll learn how. Anyhow, if you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. Yakri out.